So today I thought I'll catch up on some CTA changes that I've yet to cover. The biggest one I'm sure most of you will love to hear, the MAA Tank has seen some much needed tweaks. I'll go over in more detail later on. I also want to talk about the fall patch, which seems like it's been finalised and I imagine is currently under certification. That means we potentially will see the fall patch release either the last week of October or early November. So get ready for it, as the patch notes is apparently around 28 pages long. I'm also going to show you guys a small update to the mysterious shipping container in the jungle map. Remember, Operation Outbreak will be bundled within this patch, which I have to admit I'm pretty excited about, as development has progressed very nicely and the map provides a very enjoyable infantry experience with a side of vehicle combat. Anyway though, let's go over the MAA Tank changes. There's been quite a few tweaks, but the first one is the 20mm ammo has had its max damage lowered from 15 to 12.6, minimum damage is 4.2 from 12.6. However though, its fall off damage has been greatly increased, like you can read in the stats here. Normally in retail BF4, the damage for the 20mm starts to drop off at 10 meters, on CTA it's 600. And the end drop off on retail is 50, on CTA it's been changed to 1000. Pretty much the exact same tweaks have been made for the 30mm cannon, like you can see on the left side. You might be wondering to yourself though, well, seeing as the damage fall off has been greatly increased, wouldn't that mean its time to kill on air vehicles is pretty much the same for the most part? Well, that's somewhat correct. I decided to hop onto CTA and retail BF4 to test out the time to kill on the Little Bird on various ranges with a 20mm cannon, just to see how this affects its damage. I'll be starting at 200 meters as you can see here, then I'll do the same test at 400, 600 and 800 meters. What I found after completing all the tests was that the time to kill against a Little Bird was almost exactly the same, up until the ranges over 600 meters. That's where the damage per second started to heavily decrease compared to retail BF4. I assume it's the same with the 30mm cannons as well, which is the right move to make, as currently the MAA Tank can deny a large amount of airspace to the point you can pick off targets at a really long range, while still within the protection of your uncap, and that can be an even bigger problem on the smaller maps. With this change, it should give air pilots a good chance to actually get off the ground when they first initially spawn, instead of being shot down within about 5 seconds or so. On top of this change, the multiplier against infantry is being lowered to 0.57 from 0.67, which means main cannon damage will do 10% less damage to infantry. Also, damage to the transport heli has been significantly lowered. In fact, the multiplier has gone down to 0.6 from 1.0, which means the transport heli will receive 40% less damage from the MAA Tank's main cannon. To give you guys an example here, damaging the transport heli at close range with a 20mm cannon in retail BF4 takes around 1.3 seconds before it catches fire, but on CTA it's around 3 seconds. Remember, the damage reductions for the 20 and 30mm cannons are also taking effect here, and take note the distances over 600 meters, the difference will be far greater than being up close. So overall, good news for the transport heli, and a few other vehicles also had their multipliers changed against the MAA Tank's main cannon, which I'll leave on screen here. And before I move on to the jungle map, I want to talk about a very annoying bug for vehicle drivers that's been fixed. Currently in retail BF4, when you're hit with an RPG or other projectile, the crosshair, as you can see here, will unalign, which really throws off your aim, and I know this has been a big problem and caused quite a lot of frustration to players, so I'm glad to see it's been fixed. So let's talk about the jungle map. The community map project has been mostly finalised for the upcoming fall patch. And to give you guys a bit of a tour around to see how it's going to look like on release, quite a lot has changed over time and the map looks absolutely beautiful as I walk through the ghost town, which has seen many changes and tweaks. And travelling up the hill we have the crashed helicopter that contains a brand new M60 ULT battle pickup. For some reason it wasn't spawning at this particular time. The medical facility has had a lot of detail put into it over the months, so it actually resembles a medical facility. And don't forget about the story of the map that involves the monkey test subjects, which results in a deadly virus spreading throughout the map. I wonder if Dxtory have any secrets planned for this backstory. Which leads me to the mysterious crate at the back of the medical facility capture point. Remember, I overviewed this in a previous video, but we still don't know too much about it. All we know is that there's a keypad here that requires a 4-digit passcode of some kind, and a security camera is behind the crate door, and as you can see we now have this graphic here with some French words that says closed until 2142, which I found pretty interesting. To take a wild guess, I imagine behind a door will lead to a room that contains the 2 new Phantom arrow types, but how to get inside of the complex is going to be the mystery and potentially could be a whole another Phantom program phase. But moving on to other points of the map, some people still say the temple needs more cover, but I think the way it is perfect. I've played on this map a lot defending this objective, and I've never had any cover issues, well, at least not in the recent times. A while ago when the map was still undergoing heavy development, yes, this general area was pretty damn open. So what else can we expect from the fall patch? Well, there's quite a lot of changes that's been made on CTA over the past couple of months, and of course we have all the netcode related tweaks, especially for the high tick rate servers. We also have pretty much most of the best features from Hardline coming over to BF4. That includes the radius capture zones in your minimap, the squad leader promote and demote system, and the really important minimap icon scaling. This means if an enemy player is below you, his icon will scale down, and if he's above you, then it'll scale up. Which quite honestly is an amazing feature to have, as it gives you a much better idea of your surroundings and potentially leads you to staying alive in some situations. If you've watched my previous CTA videos, you'll know all about the new below radar feature and the many changes to air vehicles, mostly revolving around how effective countermeasures will be. Which I hope will be enough, as remember the lock-on launchers for infantry have also been tweaked. Yes, it will be more difficult to lock on, but they will now take down air targets with 2 missiles instead of 3, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And one of the other big changes are smoke grenade tweaks. The smoke will block enemy players using a thermal scope seeing through it. They also unspot any teammates within the smoke cloud, and remember the glitch has been fixed that involves where you can sometimes still spot the enemy player within their cloud and on occasion see their name tags. So with all these things combined, the smoke grenades are going to be extremely viable and hopefully will once again be seen as more of a tactical item to provide cover for your teammates. When the fall patch arrives at the end of October or early November, I'll make sure to make a couple of video guides for it, as like I said, there's quite a lot coming in the patch and I imagine will overwhelm some players. But anyway guys, make sure to let me know your thoughts about the MAA tweaks and if you're excited about the jungle map. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.